Hello, Fat Grandma here. If this is your first time to my channel, I am a very small eBay reseller and occasionally Poshmark. As a matter of fact, I had one Poshmark sale this past week. This week has been really, and let me say really again, slow. Like, this is like beginning of when I first started selling slow. I don't know if everyone's gotten their credit card bills for December and they're like, oh, better not shop anymore, or what's going on, or if it's just the climate of things right now and people are watching their money. Weird stuff is selling, which, when it does sell, that's great, but, just very dead week. So, I am what I do here typically is share my solds, and then I will go into anything personal that's going on with me, or if I happen to have found something really cool to put in my store, I'll talk about that, whatever. But my solds obviously are not going to take very long because there's only 5 of them. Yeah, 5, and one of them's Poshmark. So anyway, I've got to pull up that Poshmark sale because I'm going to do that one first, just because that way I can get it out of the way, and there's only one. So let me find that one. I should have had it open. I totally forgot about it again because I had one on last week's video too. So I'm getting like one sale a week on Poshmark. There was a while there where I was getting 1 or 2 sales pretty regularly on Poshmark, regularly in the broad sense. But then I had a really dead period where there weren't any, and now there's sort of happening again, but not, nothing to scream about. So the one item that I sold on Poshmark this past week was a Japanese tea set. It was a pot with a bamboo handle, and it had 4 little cups. And I have had this listed for a really long time. When I'm out looking for stuff, or even when I'm watching auctions, if I see tea sets, I don't know, again, you guys, if you've seen my videos, I tend to go for things that are breakable. I picked this up, I'm pretty sure, at the Humane Society thrift store. And it was either there or in an auction lot, like last spring or last early summer. I've had this for a long time. But it only sold for $12, the whole thing. And that's because I kept reducing the price. Because, I don't always reduce the price on things. I'll let them sit sometimes for a long time. And I'll maybe take it down $1 or something. But I don't go drastic with it with most things. But if it's something that's taking up a lot of room, then I will maybe mark it down faster. So, and if it's unmarked and I don't really know that it's worth much, then I'm not worried about sitting on it for too long and holding on to it. So, it's kind of one of those case by case things where you just decide what you're going to, what you're going to mark down and what you're not going to. So, anyway, this sale, Poshmark, $12, and I can't even remember what I made on this. Not much. My earnings were $9.05. So I got my money back on it. I think I paid maybe $4 for the whole set, for the teapot and the cups. The next item that sold was a Target Wonder Shop red, white, and gray plaid fleece throw, 50 by 60, standard throw size. And I've had it listed for at least, I don't know, 8 months. I mean, it's been it's been listed for a long time. So, I didn't expect it to sell during the summer because most people, people were watching it though. It was weird because I'd get a watcher or two and then they'd disappear, and then I'd get another watcher and they'd be around for a while and they're watching. I'd sometimes send offers, but No one ever bid. Anyway, it finally sold for $8.99 plus shipping. So with shipping, it was $19.94. It was kind of heavy, surprisingly, because if you looked at it, it didn't. It was just, it was very soft. It was a nice throw, but that's a Target brand, item, so it wasn't going to be worth a lot. I got this in an auction lot early on when you know, I don't know. I didn't really know what I was doing. I apparently still don't, but we'll get to that later. I, I bought some more stuff in an auction that is not proving to be a good purchase at all, and so we'll get into that later on. Um, I'm mad at myself. Anyway, so that was the blanket. The next item that sold was a Blu-ray lot of 20 movies, and I've kind of decided I'm not going to, unless a movie is worth more than $5 or $6, I'm not even going to bother listing it. If there's other DVDs or other Blu-rays that I can lump it together with, then I will throw it into a lot, and people can either buy them all or not buy them. Because it takes too much time, and by the time you ship it and use your tape and all the other stuff, there's really no profit in these things. I don't know how some of these sellers can sell DVDs and Blu-rays for like $2 and make any money. I don't understand. And then free shipping sometimes. If they sell it for $4 or $5 and they do free shipping, granted the shipping isn't that much, but there's not a lot of profit. I mean, unless they're getting them for free or for a quarter, I don't even know, how they're making any money at all. And you would have to sell hundreds of them to make any money. I don't get it, but I don't know the magic trick yet. So anyway, this lot of 20 movies, $17, and with shipping, it was $25.15. So, and I reduced the price on these as well. You know, it was a box, it was full, it was taking up room, and they made an offer, I think. I think I had it at 20, and they made an offer of 17, and I was like, fine, take it. I will be buying no more DVDs or Blu-rays unless they happen to be in a lot with other stuff that I'm after. I'm not buying anymore. It's unless they're sealed and I can see what the movie is and I know that it's going to be worth a little bit more. Otherwise, again, it's just not worth it. Not for me anyway. For somebody else who knows the magic tricks, then maybe it's worth it, but for me it's not. The next item I sold was a winter snow-covered pine trees with bunnies salt and pepper shakers. They were 4 inches tall. They were kind of clunky. And I listed these. I'm trying to remember where I got these. I think I got them in an auction lot. No. Yes. Durr. They were in the plastic container that they originally came in, but there was obviously a cardboard sleeve that probably went over that was missing. So I've got a fuzzy hanging off of my hand, sorry. Anyway, there was obviously a cardboard casing that went over this plastic, but and you could tell it was old plastic, like the thick, I don't know how to describe it, but it was obnoxious plastic that probably from the 60s or 70s. And anyway, the salt and pepper shaker were in there, did not look like they'd ever been used. Really like brand new condition, still in the packaging. But I got rid of the packaging because it was going to be more of a pain in the butt to ship them in that packaging than just by themselves, wrapping them up real good and putting them in a good sturdy box, So anyway, I listed them and they sold within 30 minutes. Like, I couldn't believe it. There were a couple of others just like these listed on eBay. None had sold ever. And not in the past 2 years anyway, because I did my research on Terapeak too, and I couldn't find any solds, and there was no markings on these. They didn't have a brand name. There's really nothing, nothing unusual about them to make them like a prime item. Somebody must have just happened to see them right after I listed them because they sold so quick. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, they sold for $8.99. and with shipping it was $17.31. So, you know, that was a good sale because they sold right away. And again, I cannot remember where these came from. I think they were in an auction lot, though. Pretty sure. Now, I've got one, just as I was getting ready, I was thinking, well, maybe I won't do a video this week because there was so few things to talk about. It was like, why bother, you know? But then I thought, well, go ahead and do one. It'll be short. And as I was turning my microphone on and getting everything ready, I got another sale. And it was something that I just listed in the past hour, maybe 2 hours at the most. And it was a Space Shuttle Challenger patch. You know, it was a decent sized patch. I could actually show you guys. I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's back here. You always want to look at the back of my head. Anyway, this is it. It came from the Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida. And there's a few of these listed on eBay. Not a lot, but there's a handful of them. None of the other ones had the cardboard on the back of them. This is still stapled, like how it came. And this is one of the things that was in one of the auction lots that I picked up this weekend. Anyway, like I said, I just listed this and it sold for $8.05. I have a sale running right now. Although I don't know if this was one of the things that was on sale. Yes, it was. So it was 9 something. And anyway, it sold for $8.05 plus shipping. So with shipping, it was $14.11 for this patch. So that's it. That's all. That's my whopping sales for the week. Excuse me while I turn around again and throw things back there. You know, there's no telling. You never know with eBay. And, you know, for me, okay, so that's it for my sales. If that's what you came for, you can leave now. And I'll see you next week. And, you know, if you want to hear me ramble on about random crap, then stick around. Anyway, so, you know, I never know what the, you know, this is the problem though with selling on eBay and having Social Security, because I think, you know, if you guys have seen my previous videos, then you know that I took my Social Security early at 62, so it's much lower than it would have been had I waited until it was, you know, at the full amount. And, you know, so that's an issue. And then because of taking it early, I can only, like, if I work at all, I have a limit to the amount of money I can make, or it can affect my Social Security. Now, if I was making a buttload of money on eBay, I wouldn't give two shits about losing some of my Social Security because that would be fine. But it's irregular, and I can't count on it. You know, I've had months where I've made a pretty decent amount of money if I have a really good sale, like when I sold a tapestry last year that was, you know, a $300 tapestry. It was actually more than that. But my net from that was only like $100 after my cost of goods and after, you know, all of the fees and everything else, you know. And then if you take taxes out, I probably made $80 on that sale. I don't know, you know, but, you know, if I have a sale, something like that, or the teacup that I sold last year, that was an Ainsley, really high-end, expensive teacup, not one of those $1,000 ones, but still it was 300 and change, you know, 350, I think. I can't remember. But, you know, if I have a month where I have one of those kind of sales, then it shoots my amount that I've made, you know, pretty high. I don't know what he's doing. I have to yell at him. Stop it. Get out of there. No. I don't know what his deal is. I have some boxes and things over the chairs that are behind. There's some chairs behind me that are taking up a good chunk of space in this room that I'm living in. I didn't want them to begin with. There's something my mother didn't want anymore. And this is at the last place I was living. She had a bad habit of, I'm trailing off now on something completely. There he goes again. I'm pausing this. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't know where he is right now. I got him out and then he went back over there again. So I'm just going to have to give up and try and find out what he's doing later. But back to this story, and I'll try to make it quick. The last place I was living before I had to move into my daughter's basement after the. If you guys have watched my past videos, you know what's happened in my life. So, anyway, when I was living there, and before that, even the place I lived before that, that I rented for 11 years, anytime my mother would buy a new piece of furniture for her house, there would be whatever the furniture was that she didn't want anymore. She would just show up at my house with it and expect me to find a home for it or need it or use it or whatever, you know. She wouldn't call me and say, hey, I have these chairs, do you want them? Or, hey, I have this couch, do you want it? Or, hey, I have this, you know, anything. And so anytime she would get, you know, and you think, oh, that's nice of her to do. Well, not if you don't have room for it, and not if you don't really want it, you know. And ask a person before you just show up at their house with it, because there's also the issue of if I had said, oh, I really don't want that, you know, then you get the wrath of, well, fine, I'm never gonna, you know, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So anyway, I have these two recliner chairs in here that I didn't want, that I will never use, and they're just taking up a bunch of space in here. And I, you know, heaven forbid I would have thrown them out before I moved in here, because she would have known that I got rid of them, you know. Whenever I do move, when I get accepted somewhere and I move, I'm not going to have any furniture in my living room. There isn't going to be anyone visiting or me having company or any of that. My granddaughter's in Nebraska now with my daughter and my son-in-law, and she's the only one that ever came over and stayed at my place when I, you know, the last two places that I lived, and she's not visiting anymore. I don't want company, you know, and so my living room is going to be basically my eBay store, you know, and then my bedroom will be for everything else. So, you know, I don't want couches or chairs or any of that. It just doesn't. I don't need furniture. I don't need a bunch of furniture. You know, I want to have room for my eBay store and all of the things that go along with that, and storing my stuff, you know. So anyway, back to what I was talking about before, and now I've completely lost my thought on what I was talking about. I may have to start this video over. I don't know. I'm going to pause it and see if I can remember what the heck I was talking about. Okay, I'm back again. I don't know how many times I'm going to stop this video and have to come back. So I was talking about my Social Security and income with eBay and stuff. So, you know, that's just, it's a little bit of a problem, because if they base my rent on my Social Security and my eBay income, you know, or if they adjust my Social Security because of my eBay income, then it could screw me up, because, you know, if it drops off one month like it's obviously doing for February, you know, then I won't have the money to pay my bills, my rent or whatever, if they've based it on me having that income, you know. So I don't know, you know, I'll have to kind of write it out and see what happens this month. You know, there's been times where I've had very slow weeks, and it usually corrects itself. Now, week before last, I think it was week before last, I had a pretty good week. It was still, it wasn't a high dollar week though. You know, if I was selling one high dollar item per week and then a few little ones, that would be better, because, you know, and if that was kind of consistent. But the last few weeks, and pretty much January, there might have been one week where I made a decent amount, but for the most part, January was very low sales, as far as dollar goes, dollar amount, you know. Some of the weeks I had a decent amount of sales, but the dollar amount, the profit that I made was not good. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I have to kind of just wait and see what happens. You know, I've got all this inventory now, and I've got a bunch of inventory that needs to be listed. So I am trying and I think I've got a new strategy for myself. If I'm shopping the auctions and I'm watching an auction, I am not going to bid on items. And I decided this after this weekend, after Saturday, yesterday. I'll tell you guys what happened. But my thought is that if I see items that are only going to be, you know, they're not going to be a large amount of profit, I'm not going to bid on them. No matter how tempting it is, unless it's something, and here I go again, unless it's something that's really cool, and I just, like some of these bowls and things that I've gotten that are really awesome, or if I'm looking for a couple of other things to bid on so that I'm not driving 15 miles just to pick up one item, that kind of thing. But I'm not going to bid on a bunch of lots, because in my mind, I'm making it worth it to drive all that way to pick up those things if I have more things to pick up. But in reality, I'm going to lose money because the items just aren't worth that much. And it's more time consuming to list them, and then I have to pay for the boxes and the shipping materials to send these things that I'm not making much profit on. Just, it doesn't make any sense. So kind of had to redo my thinking. And okay, so what happened this past weekend is earlier in the week, I saw an auction for an auction place in Mesa that I have not gone to before. And they had a few things that I was interested in. And I was like, well, because it's a really long drive for me. A lot of miles on the car, which is ancient. It's going to fall apart. And so, I try not to. I mean, the auctions that I drive to over here on the west side of Phoenix, out to past Sun City are far, but they're not even half as far, or maybe half as far as the one that I had to drive to in Mesa. That was a haul for me, and because it was East Mesa, so it's even further than if I was just driving into Mesa. Where I used to live in Mesa, I was on. I was as close to Tempe and Phoenix or Scottsdale, Tempe and Scottsdale, as you can get in Mesa. So I was on the border of Mesa. This auction house was way into Mesa, almost to Apache Junction. So it was a lot further. And so in my mind, I thought, well, I need to find more things to bid on if I'm going to drive all the way out there. And having not shopped with this auction house before, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know what the quality is of the items that they're selling, or that they're auctioning off. And they only had one or at the most two photos of each lot. So you couldn't really get a good look at things. And they said you could come in and preview stuff. But again, it's so far for me that I kind of had to trust the photos because I wasn't going to drive all the way over there. I wish I had now. If I had driven all the way over there, I probably wouldn't have purchased anything from them. I wouldn't have bid on any of the lots because it just wouldn't have been worth it, in retrospect. And I'm hoping that I can at least make my money back. Ended up spending $109, and I got quite a few lots. I'm going to try pulling this up so that I can tell you guys how many lots I got. It was 109 with there's auction fees and there's tax and all that kind of stuff. But I picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, no, 10. I picked up 10 lots of things, so on average $10 a lot, basically, if you want to, do the math, or, $10 or $12.50 for each lot is what I paid if you split it up that way. One of the lots was totes, and they were clear totes with lids. They're the bigger plastic ones, and two of them are the kind that have the interlocking tops. So I really wanted those totes, and those totes were, I think, I spent $20 on those plus the fees and stuff, so about $22.50. But I got 5 totes, and they're all pretty good size. They're bigger than the boxes that I use over here. I can stack them on top of each other, and totes are more than, I mean, that works out to, let's see, 1250, about 1250 divided by 5. My math brain isn't working, so I'm going to do this real quick. Divided by 5. That's $2.50 a piece for those totes. Now, there's no way I could go buy those for that amount. So, so that price for all those totes was a good price. And that's something that I'll keep here. I can't sell those. I won't sell those. I need them. So, I can use those and you can see through them, which is a nice, feature, because they're all clear. Some of them are blue, but you still can see through them to see what's in them. So those were for personal use, or not personal use, but for the business. So I can write those off. But the rest of the stuff that I got, one of the items that was in one of the lots, it was a lot that just had a bunch of random stuff, and it had that patch that I just sold, that NASA patch or the space shuttle patch. And it had that in it. And I'll post a photo of it up here in the corner. The one photo that they gave, with the lot. I think there was one picture. Yeah, one photo. So, and again, I'll share that with you guys. There was just a bunch of random stuff in there. Arizona Coyotes hockey puck, some two-way radios that were broken. One of them, the tab on the back doesn't work, so you can't open the battery compartment. So those are garbage. There was a comic book, a Bugs Bunny comic book, which there's a few listed on eBay, so I went ahead and listed that. One has sold, and there's like 5 or 6 listed. So it's going to be a while if that sells. Then there was a Hot Wheels truck in there. There were 2 little figurines, and I maybe I'll show you guys because you can't see them in the photo. I wasn't sure what they were when I was looking at the picture. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them out of this cup so I can show you guys. They're little good luck. I can't remember what these are called, and I listed them already, but they're little good luck cats. And they have the hand up in the air, the one paw up in the air. Anyway, these surprisingly are they're lacquered wood and then hand painted, and they're worth a decent amount of money. I think they're worth around $30. And these are in really good shape, but who knows if anyone's going to buy these, and I'll probably end up knocking the price down. So, these were in there. They're very cute, and hopefully they'll sell, but, so those were in one of the lots, and then there were some baseball pins, MLB pins, and it was just some random stuff. The things that I was after that I spotted in the photo were 2 fairy statues, and I couldn't tell exactly what they were, but I knew the artist because I've had some of her art before. I have one of her paintings. Jasmine Beckett Griffith is the artist's name, and these were on Bradford Exchange. Anyway, I have one of her paintings, or it's a litho. They're fairy ornaments, and I could see these in the photo. And again, I'll keep the photo up here in the corner. They were kind of buried in the other stuff, and so you could see them, but not really. And I knew what they were just by looking at them because I can tell her art. So, but I couldn't see them. And again, it's too far to drive over there to look at everything. Well, I got them home, and both of them are broken. Both of them have damage to a wing. This one has a wing piece missing right here. And I think her dragon, they're strangelings is what they're called. This dragon's wing has a chipped off the end too. So she has damage. Otherwise, she would have been fine. So she's got damage, and the other one has damage too. Where is it? On her wing. One of her wings, the tip on this wing is broken off. So these were the only 2 things that I really wanted in that lot. And now I'm fuzzy because I held this up in front of the camera. Anyway, these are the only two things that I really wanted, and now they're not really worth anything because they both have damage. I went ahead and listed them, and I discounted them quite a bit due to the damage, because otherwise they'd be worth about $40 a piece. But in this state, if somebody, because if you just glance at them, if somebody hung them in their Christmas tree, you might not notice that her wing is broken. It's this piece over here, and you wouldn't really notice it on this one because it's behind her hair, the tip of the one wing. That's the one that's broken. So, you could get away with these having a little bit of damage if you put them in your Christmas tree, but if you're going to have them sitting on a shelf or whatever, then you would totally see that damage. I don't know if somebody can do something with them, but I went ahead and listed them, and I figured I'll leave them up for about 6 months, and then, if I've had no interest or no offers or anything, then I'll go ahead and I'm probably going to throw them away, because if I donate them, they'll end up, it'll be the same cycle over and over, because somebody might pick them up and not notice the damage and get them home and then realize that they're broken. So I don't know what I'm going to try resetting this thing to see if I can get it to stop being fuzzy. I don't know if that's going to make any difference or not, or if I hold something up. I think that's a little bit better. I don't know. I can't move around a lot with this camera. Maybe time to look for a new camera. Anyway, so that was the one of the lots, and then another one was 5 Build-A-Bears, and I'll post a photo of those up here in the corner too. After researching them a little bit more, I just don't know what they're going to be worth. And again, $12.50 about for the lot of 5. So, I'll have to wait and see if they even turn out to be worth enough to even try and sell. I just don't know. And then there was another lot that had a big blue dish bowl, whatever. It's still in the car. It's safely packed, so nothing will happen to it. This bowl may be worth something. I don't know. It's just the other thing that I did find that I got in one of the lots. I did get some Dr. Seuss books. So, and I need to get those out of the car too. Those may be worth enough to make it worth it. And then I got some, I'll post a photo up here, some white Coleman coffee mugs, the white enamel, those mugs, the cups that you use for camping, and there were 3 of them. And those are worth, not a ton of money, but it'll make up for that lot. There were a couple of crock pots, the old crock pots, from like the 70s, 70s and 80s. Anyway, there were a couple of those. I have not tried them yet, but considering the condition of most things that I got at this auction house, I'm going to guess that these crock pots are not going to work. And I'm going to be pissed because, I won't go back there again. If these crock pots don't work, I will not be going back to that auction house again. I won't bid on any more of their stuff. I just, it's a waste of time. So, live and learn. But again, what I'm going to start doing is, when I shop on the auctions, because I've got enough stuff here to list, I'm going to be pickier. I'm going to be pickier about what I bid on. And if there aren't enough photos that I can see if there's damage or not, I'm not going to bid on it. It's just, I can't risk it anymore, So anyway, I'm running a sale through February, and I'm going to see if that changes the activity at all. If it does, that may be my new strategy. And I know there's some other sellers that do this too. And then when I list an item, I'll just mark it up a little bit more than I would have, so that when the 10% comes off, I won't lose more than I'm willing to, but we'll see what happens with that. And, I'm just going to play it by ear and keep plugging along and listing more stuff, and we'll see what happens. And I guess that's it. I hope that you guys have a great It's Sunday. I hope you have a great week. And if anything exciting happens or I have anything to show you guys or talk to you about, I'll pop in and post a short video. But other than that, I guess that's it. And I will see you next week. Bye.